AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built into. That's why it's no surprise that more than 85% of the Fortune 500 use the ServiceNow AI platform. While other platforms duct tape tools together, ServiceNow seamlessly unifies people, data, workflows, and AI, connecting every corner of your business. And with AI agents working together autonomously, anyone in any department can focus on the work that matters most. Learn how ServiceNow puts AI to work for people at ServiceNow.com. Hey everyone, welcome to Served. Techie Sean behind the desk, producer Mike right there, JW. Where are you?
Oh man, you where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I am at the. Anybody want to guess? This is the Indiana University football facility.
Yeah, I can see the logo over your head in the back. My trainer Doug Spreen is an IU fanatic, a Hoosier. You are at the Hoosiers football field, covering, obviously, the number one team in the country.
13-0. You're Big Ten champions, having just beaten Ohio State about 36 hours ago.
Man.
Yeah, this is one of these assignments. This is for 60 Minutes, but this is one of these. This is assignment hits close to home. But good Doug Spreen reference. He's a good loyal Hoosier.
It's one of those stories that I love. I think it's great. Obviously, we're going to talk tennis at some point, not college football. And also, there's part of me that lifelong Nebraska fan. And if Indiana's better than us at football, what are we?
You know what this is? This is the Vachereau of college football.
That's funny.
This is like the
except they might be able to win it all.
Yeah, exactly. Except this was coming into the season the losingest college football program in America, and now they're undefeated and number one seed heading into the playoffs, and they did not even have to play their cousin in the final.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, so like news, JW, it's been pretty fun here. You're gonna get to the studio one day, but we actually had some action here. It's exhibition season, and they had one in Charlotte, and so I got to hit with Francis. I got drilled by Bjorn Fetangelo in my Dingles game one morning. He just drilled me. I love that guy, by the way. I think he's just he wants to come on more. So yeah, totally. He wants to come on anytime, and he had so much value. He's so thoughtful. Eisenbud was in town. I had a meeting with him. Eubanks came by, and we knocked out some shows that.
He's so tall. He's so tall.
We did have a conversation because obviously, like the Serena news is coming back, and everyone and whoever, and she's openly on these GLP-1s. I asked Eubanks, and I mean, I'm assuming all of you have seen Eubanks, but like maybe the skinniest leg I've ever seen. And I asked him what would happen to Chris Eubanks if he was on a GLP-1.
It would revert. He would gain weight.
What do you say?
I don't know. He would just shrivel in. I don't know. Like I don't
shower
know.
drain. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like he could dodge. He's just out there dodging rain. Just like sliding. JW, you obviously we're going to get to Serena news. We have Frances Tiafoe. We have an interview with him. He was nice enough to stop by. So we'll get his thoughts. Obviously not the season he wanted. His thoughts moving forward. JW, you got to talk to one of the stories of the year as far as growth and improvement as a player, and a very human story as well. You got to speak with Amanda Anisimova this week.
Add her to the list of folks we ought to get on. Yeah, she
great. Anytime.
She's great. Loves the pod. We couldn't quite figure out how to make it work. She swung by my office. I think she was horrified at seeing people working under fluorescent lighting. It's funny when tennis people go into a conventional office setting and suddenly, you know what? Being my own boss and hitting a ball over a net and staying in shape, not so bad. But no, she was delightful. I'll transcribe that and put that up. But she was, this off season, it's such a strange time for these athletes. And they, we see the photos from the Maldives and we see exos, but I think some of this is just dead time. And she really liked having 2 weeks of not setting an alarm and not having to do her fitness and just kind of detach. And she had, what a year she had. And she sort of said, listen, great year. I exceeded all my expectations on the one hand. On the other hand, yeah, there's still some bells I need to ring. So it's great. I mean, she's she wants to win a major, not just be a finalist at 2 of them, but she's in the top 5 now, and she's come a long way. Really, really nice conversation. We should get her on.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on. Also, I think there's a difference between making a run at a massive tournament, right? Or making, having some big results, and that being 4 in the world, like that's different, right? That's winning a lot more matches than just having a couple of big results, right? That's not, the space between 10 and 4 is very, very different. And when Anisimova says this, we've had people who have made big runs in majors and had a big year. When she's like, I want to win a major, we're going, yeah, you do. Totally. That's not everyone wants to win a major. Everyone says I want to win a major. When she says it, we're going, rewind to a year ago. She says I want to win a major. We're going, yeah, a lot of upside, but there's so much work to do, right? There's so much space between where you're at and legitimately being a contender every week that you enter a tournament. Present day, she's a contender in every week she plays.
How much is the actual realization that you can make these semifinals heading into a year like this? Well, now just like the mental ease, knowing like, hey, I can compete.
Well, I actually think weirdly that Amanda is a great test case for the guy we're about to hear from with Frances. We know the upside of Frances's tail end of Grand Slams. He's done it, 3 times or, whatever it is. But Amanda is playing semis, finals every week now, right? We're World Tour finals. Like Frances hasn't found that cadence yet, where it's all of a sudden I'm producing this level all year or so. I'm in Turin afterwards. And he actually speaks about it, in the interview, just general mentality and how to get there. And, Frances is amazing. He's like, he walks into a room and you can't not like him, right? He's just, that smile is not a fake put on thing only when he's saying thank you to Arthur Ashe Stadium, right? And so, but like the consistency, it's, it needs to be less of a heart rate monitor and maybe just like a little more productively boring.
Yeah.
And he speaks to it. I didn't, it's nothing that he doesn't know, but I think Anisimova is a great, someone to point to and say, hey, listen, the upside was there. She had been in the semis of a Grand Slam before, obviously had gone up and down. Frances didn't play the last 2 months. There was some mental wear and tear and needed a reset. She's taken a reset before. You look at her and go, hey, listen, a couple Grand Slam finals, and they're every week, like producing after that Wimbledon final, got back to work immediately and kind of put on her hard hat and went in there. So props. I hope she does come on the pod sometimes. Don't wait for us, Amanda, not like you listen to this, but we would love to have her on anytime that she would like. And then, obviously the biggest story of the week is Serena Williams re-entering doping protocols. So what that means, I'm going to give you a personal story of this as I learned about it. This is over a decade ago now, but just a level set. So people reading this might not know what that means, right? Like you re-enter, what does that mean? So I retired and I filled the paperwork for retirement. I'm assuming Serena did too, because you don't have to re-enter doping protocols if you've never left them. Like John McEnroe never actually retired. And so he could go back and play a professional tournament this week, but because I actually put in paperwork, I would have to re-enter doping protocols for at least 6 months or whatever that number is, a significant amount of time if I wanted to play, even though we're like the same amount retired, right? Like it's not like John McEnroe's on tour anymore. But he had those couple of tournaments where he just said, okay, I'll do it. So it is significant, right? I'm sitting here as a retired player living my life with obviously no intention of, like, it's not a reality for me like it is Serena. Serena could go out and win matches. Serena could go out and make a run and do the second week of a slam. I don't think that would shock anyone. Now, a lot of work between here and there, but that's just how I feel. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I'm sitting here as a retired person, and I'm not going, you know what? For no reason at all, I would like to re-enter doping protocols. Like for no reason, I'd like to pee in a cup every once in a while, and I'd like to report my whereabouts all the time.
Yeah.
I would like to tell someone through email if I'm going to Wilmington for a night and give them my room number and address. I would like to invite that back into my life, because I obviously wouldn't do that because I have no ambitions of playing anymore. So I love Serena. She's I've known her for a long time, since we're kids. I'm not saying she's doing it because she knows she's coming back. The reason you go back into doping protocols is because you like the option of coming back. And I don't know how else to read this. And I'm sure I'm going to get an angry email from someone saying you're stoking the fire. Yep, I am, JW. Why am I wrong?
We know how Serena feels about needles. We know how normal human beings, they complain about this weekly, feel about having a knock on the door at 6 or 7 a.m. saying, now I need you to urinate in this cup. You don't avail yourself to that if there isn't some upside.
Great.
I mean, at a bare minimum, she's now given herself the option. And you see we're all sort of reading tea leaves here. And this is very on brand for Serena. This is sort of cryptic and everyone's kind of playing this Taylor Swift lyrics game, but seems to be in great shape. And I think, I mean, we hear chatter that she still watches tennis and is not necessarily impressed by what she's seeing. And I think there was chatter about her coming back and playing mixed doubles. There's even chatter, hey, the Olympics are only 2.5 years away. I also wonder about Wimbledon. Remember Harmony Tan? That is not how she wanted to go out at Wimbledon. You and I've talked about this before. I mean, you're really good at one thing. It's hard to sort of give it up and say, I'm never going to be as good at anything else ever again. And I think if nothing else, she's given herself the option. I also think something we don't talk about enough, just side point, having kids who can appreciate what mom and dad is doing. Bronny James is kind of one obvious exponent, but I've talked to Novak about that, and having his kids not just sitting there, but appreciating the magnitude, hearing the applause, having the context. That's a real motivation. And I mean, look, if Serena wanted to play tomorrow, that would be great. I don't think anyone would be in opposition to this. But she took the first step, and who knows if she's going to keep going. But I don't think it's unreasonable to infer that she is at a bare minimum thinking about coming back.
Yeah, I love Serena. We have, I feel like I wish like all of the funny moments I've ever had with Serena, everyone would know, because she is so much fun to be around. Like, so much fun to be around, right? When the walls are down. She's amazing. And like, you just don't do that. You don't wake up and be like, I'm kind of bored. You know what I'd like to do today? Little doping protocol. If I could just do that a little bit.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it flew under the radar, right? It was October 6th is when she was listed back in the protocol. And so it didn't really
I don't even know where you would look for that.
It didn't even catch fire until the beginning of the month. And then she posted on X, OMG, y'all, I'm not coming back. This wildfire is crazy on December 2nd.
Yeah, but I'm not coming back for at least 4 months because there's a 6 month. But also the other thing, like you mentioned the Olympics, John. So I have two thoughts about the Olympics thing is like, now we talk about like one of the biggest things that's happened in sports or in tennis and in sports. So you have like Brady and LeBron is like the timelines for when the sunset of a career is here have been blown up. Venus comes back at 45 and wins a match this summer and is like playing fine, and everyone's like, made a run in doubles at the US Open. You just mentioned the Olympics 2.5 years away as if, Serena's not 43.
She's 44.
44. Like that's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. But also there's another thing where I think the most innocent version of speculation, and I don't know that I believe this is the only option that she's interested in, but Venus played great. Venus played really well in doubles. Like her and Leylah Fernandez were phenomenal at the US Open last year. Maybe she's going, who else would be pretty good? Like maybe there's a world where Venus is eventually going to stop playing. What better way to celebrate than next to your sister? Right? Pure conjecture, right? Like pure just, I don't know anything. But I heard the same thing you did, right? I heard the same thing you did, JW, that there's some texts that go back and forth when she deems the quality of play not up to her standard. It's interesting. You don't re-enter doping protocols to stay retired 1,000%. You just don't. That's not like a logical sequence of events. And her going, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. That was open-ended. Like when? Like for Australia? Sure. Like there's a timeline. So anyways, the story I was going to say is I tried to come back and just play doubles with Marty when he wanted to come back and play. I think it was like we were flirting with the idea. And so I floated. I was like, obviously, at that point, I was only 2 years retired. I could still play. I still practice with everyone. My level wasn't too far off. Doubles is fine. I wouldn't have to run. I wouldn't have to be in shape. And so, but I was like, okay, can we get a wild card into the U.S. Open? And they're like, well, no. Are you in doping protocols? I was like, really? I'm gonna pass every test I've ever taken. Tested 30 times a year. I'm going to blow it on a doubles match. That's what we're concerned about. But that was the rule. And that's why you have to re-enter at some point before you want to play. And then a certain amount of time, they basically have to have the option of testing you for, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is.
You can cut this out if I'm going to embarrass you. But I think our audience ought to know that one of the reasons you wanted to come back and play with Marty, if memory serves, was as support and assistance when he was going through a tough time. And I think that's notable and really poignant.
Yeah, and then it was like, no. But then I asked the question, as Marty's like, well, that'd be fun. That'd be great. I could still play a little bit. Why not? I'm not doing anything. I'm like sitting around. But then I asked, okay, so the winner of junior nationals at Kalamazoo, right? They win the tournament, and 3 weeks later, they're supposed to play in the main draw of the U.S. Open. It happens very quickly. And so I go, wait a minute. This person didn't know they were going to, this is a 17-year-old most times. I go, they didn't know they were playing. They obviously haven't been in doping protocols. So what's the difference? I never got a good answer.
Well, here's the other thing that's weird to me. I actually wrote to the Serena camp and did not get a response. I always like to say no response is a response.
I got iced.
But then I wrote to the ITI.
Way, just so we're clear.
What'd you get?
I got shut out. Nothing. Not crickets.
All right. Their prerogative. I wrote to the ITIA, and because it was strange to me, I don't know if you saw that list that was going around, but there were wheelchair players on it. There were some doubles players. Venus's name was not on it. So it's not necessarily a comprehensive list of every player that needs to submit to this protocol. But
my first crack at that would be it has to be you can get waivers for stuff, and I'm guessing this is don't blow this up. This is the laziest of guesses, but I'm assuming it probably has something to do with Venus's autoimmune disease, right? Where you need waivers to take. So maybe if there's a waiver in place, which would be totally normal. That's not a crazy thing. Maybe they don't list you if you're under waiver, and maybe she needs something, medically, literally medically.
Well, I thought it was. Yeah, I don't know. Let's. I just took it as listen. Venus's ranking doesn't warrant this, and we can't knock on doors of 1,000 players. We can do the top 100.
It's only. It
was interesting to me.
The list that it's on. It's only 8 pages, so it's not very comprehensive.
Right. 8 pages. What?
It's International Registered Testing Pool. This is just a list from October.
Pee in a cup list?
Yeah, International Registered Testing Pool. She's the very last name on the very last page. This is where United States is. But Novak's on here, Holger's on here, Anisimova's on here.
Yeah.
So
Holger is, I think he's going to, is that a thing?
I think we're going to talk to him at some point.
Yeah, I think he's going to come on. We're going to get an update on his injury. At least we've been talking with the people, and there seems to be interest. We'd love to have him on, but maybe to preview Aussie Open going into next year. I think current players' perspective on what's going down is something that I certainly can't provide, and I don't know anyone else here can either. So that'll be exciting. One person who I know, I thought it was a really funny story, and then we'll kick it over to the Frances interview after we break after this. But I don't think this is. I think we can say this, but. It's interesting to think about Serena coming back and the ripple effect. We were talking to Max Eisenbud, and Ayla Tomljanovic is starting to do a little bit more, and I think she's a great voice in tennis. I think she's really fun. So seeing if there's any fit and checking in from here and there with served, and also I'm oh well, I wonder how she feels because she now has the mantle of last person to beat Serena.
Yeah, that's right.
Right,
that was very good.
And he was not happy about the rumors. She wants to be the last person that beats Serena. So I thought that was pretty funny also. It's kind of what we cling to. JW, I don't know where you're going to be next week, but hopefully you can join us.
Pleasure. Maybe we'll do Charlotte one of these days.
Hey, we're here. We don't go anywhere. You're the man with the plan moving around. JW, thanks for coming on. We'll be back with Frances Tiafoe after the break.
All right, everyone, welcome to Served. You know, we started in a garage where we couldn't hardly sit next to each other. And now we're in a place where we're in a studio and we get some of the top tennis stars in the world that stop by. Big Foe in the house. Here for an XO in Charlotte. We haven't seen you for a couple months, man. What's been going down?
Man, not a whole lot. But just been working. I mean, I honestly stopped the season early and wanted to really get to it. I didn't take a vacation this year. I thought I've had time to kind of rest. I just wanted to really transform my body, take a different approach, and sacrifice some things and really get excited and ready for the new year.
We were talking yesterday. We had a hit for a little bit, and we were just kind of talking. I always struggled in my career. The only time I felt like I had to kind of force things was post US Open. Right, you're traveling the stadiums. You know, you go to Europe and it gets dark at 4:00. It all kind of looks the same. You don't see daylight sometimes. I struggle with that. You go through the motions because you're a professional, but talk through the decision-making process where if I could go back and do one thing in my career, it would be to where if I wasn't physically ready, if I wasn't mentally ready, to just stop. And that's a hard thing to do, not like forever, but I'm just saying what you did took some time away. How did you get to the decision, you know, post-US Open, and you've had so much success there and so much of your identity is attached to that stadium and the matches that you've played there and the people that you've beat. How did you get to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to be better in 26 if I kind of pump the brakes on 25?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, the Open this year wasn't what I hoped for by any means. And then, you know, come to Asia, missed labor and stuff. Davis Cup wasn't great. And just I was like, all right, let's scratch it, get rid of it. It was what it was. You know, at the end, you know, still finished 20-something, whatever. But why don't we actually choose yourself and have a long time to actually get ready for the new year? Because once you finish, then you got Thanksgiving and you got a vacation. By the time you know, you only have really 4 or 5 weeks to get ready. I was like, let's have a long time to kind of get ready, get some new habits. You know, it's really hard to get new habits, change things, actually work on your game. With a 2-week event, it's hard to kind of get better. You're always kind of worried about the next match, the next thing. And yeah, just kind of getting a totally different mindset and different approach. And obviously, you know, for me, right now, the only thing that matters is trying to potentially win majors and be in a position to win majors and be in the top 10 and have a great, however many years it may fall of quote unquote prime. And that's kind of what the decision was to stop early.
Yeah. We know what you look like when you're in full flight, right? You're not scared of the stage. That's not something that bothers you. I almost feel like it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Like I fear for you when there's like 4 people in some city that we have never heard of.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to actually put the wins up during those events to then get like it's a trickle down effect, right? Like you going in at 30 versus, you know, being seated 8 matters, right? So you're going into the 2026 where it feels like you're clawing some real estate back a little bit. Does that excite you?
Very much so. Very much so. I think it's very easy to kind of get complacent. I've been, you know, from 11 to 20, top 10 for the last 4 or 5 years, and now, you know, I got to earn it. You know, you're not high seeds in these even 250s, 500s, slams, and you know you're gonna play. You know, I'll be 30 right now. I'm gonna play. You know, arguably top 4 or 5 guy in the 3rd round. So it's like. That excites me, but it also excites me to have that hunger again and chase it a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a different seat, but it's an exciting thing, and it's also going to help me really focus when I'm playing in front of 4 or 5 people because I don't have that luxury anymore. Like that actually matters much more now. Yeah. Which puts your foot to the fire when I like it actually.
Talk through kind of building momentum and like the mental stress test of going through this year, and you played really well at Roland Garros. Like I think, you know,
some of the best I've played in my career.
I think that was the best you played all year.
Yeah,
I mean, given the circumstances, and maybe it's a surface that's not your favorite. But then always kind of knowing that a bulk of your season was in the points total and the ranking was coming down to Cincy, US Open. Is there part of you where even though New York doesn't go the way you want, it's like, okay, like fucking full reset, and now that's done. We wash it away because you've kind of banked on that part of the year
for a lot of years,
not intentionally, but it's just where what you get up for. It's just where you play. You know, the court feels better in certain places, but like it's also not something that you can bet on. right? Like it's going to fall out sometimes. So how do you become like more consistent throughout the year to where we're not, focused on 4 or 5 events where we see you and you look like you're like, I always have this conversation. I'm like, I see Francis, he walks into the Arthur Ashe Stadium and he's a top 7 or 8 guy, right? How does that happen all year?
Right. And I think it's kind of like, to even the practices and the work I've kind of been doing. I mean, I know I'm gifted with this game. I've, had great ability. I know it comes quite naturally, but there's days where I'm in and out, and it shows. And I'm totally okay with saying that. There's days where I'm not feeling it, and I don't put in the work. I don't do it in the days where it's hard. Find a kind of easy way out and rely on my talent. I'll figure it out. And so kind of just doing the boring things and the monotonous thing over and over and over and showing up. I'm trying to show up every day in practice, every day in the gym, do things I don't necessarily like each and every day, and do it like I love it. And I don't want to be, and a lot of times I always risen off motivation. I want to rise off discipline. I show up every day. And that's kind of where I'm at and where my mentality is right now. And I think that's going to create real consistency, longevity, and where I should be, because I see myself a top guy no matter what I'm ranked, and now is actually to be there. This is these kind of things.
I would say most people don't like their job every day. It's okay for a tennis player to say that, right?
Yeah.
That's not normal. I remember it's funny how you pick up like little pieces of wisdom along the way. Like I remember I was on tour with Andre, and I remember I went in and like the greats have this ability to make something that seems really stressful or hard, and they put it in like very simple terms. And so Andre said to me one time, we were in Australia, and it was one of those days where it like felt like a hairdryer outside. Like it's 140 on court and the wind's blowing and it's just disgusting. And so I'm in the training room like kind of just bullshitting, having fun, and guys are walking in and out, and Andre's in the corner kind of not saying much. And having a conversation with someone, I talk, person leaves and Andre goes, "Dude, it's the 3rd fucking person you've talked to about how hot it is." He goes, "You're an asshole." I'm like, what do you mean? Why? Like, you're right, but why? And he goes, "You're sitting here complaining." He goes, "How many people in the world have to be better than 1 person a day at their job?" And it blew my mind, right? Because it's like, you put it into a thing where it's like, the day you're not motivated, you don't have to be more motivated than everyone. You have to be better physically, mentally than the person you're playing. Like, you don't have to be perfect every day until you get to the semifinals, and then you're playing
you got to bring it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's weird.
It's a crazy comment. That's
right?
a crazy comment.
Like, how's that? Like,
because honestly, you only have to be just a little bit better than that guy on that day. Especially in the early rounds. Like, it's kind of like, I don't have to be exceptional, but I just have to be a little bit better than that guy on that day. Yeah. Whatever conditions, climates, whatever the case may be. Sometimes we make it really complex, though.
Yeah, no,
super complex.
Because it is hard. Like, you're exposed. It doesn't feel good. Right. And also, like, when you're playing, you're going against like the best of Earth every day, and that's hard to like think about. And then I always used to get pissed. Like, we would, you'd lose like a Wimbledon final or something, and you lose a bunch of them or like whatever, and people are like, "When's he going? He sucks." I'm like, man, I beat most of Earth like the last 2 weeks. That's a tough one to take on. Like, but like we celebrate a team that's like 4th in the SEC conference.
No.
And they're not pros.
Yeah.
Right? So right. So how have you dealt with, I guess, the expectation set that is, one, you're like a star on the court, right? So that is its own corner. Like, fame is different than, what you have to do daily on the court. But how do you do you have a hard time kind of analyzing what reality is and what is true, and then chatter outside of that reality?
Yeah, my dad always does a great job of kind of having me not worry about, expectations. It's hard not to. It's kind of right in your face. I mean, for me, I think it's, sometimes I like to take myself out of it, and I was like, you wish you would be doing some of the things you're complaining about, right? Like I wish, like, I'd be, like, my reality is someone telling me that when I'm 12 or whatever in the world, top 10 in the world, that, I'm not reaching expectations. Mm-hmm. As a kid, you'd be like, wait, I take that every day, right? But at the same time, like,
you do have to reset too.
But at the same time, it's like, man, like, it's hard thinking, oh man, this guy's so talented. Is he going to be the guy? He should have done X, Y, and Z, or he should be doing X, Y, and Z, or how is he, not, been in Turin yet, or none of these things yet. And that messes you up. You're like, what? Like, you're like, am I bullshitting? Like, like, am I actually bullshitting? Like, what am I? Like, when it's quiet and you're sitting there by yourself, you're like, wait, hold on. Like, I mean, is there some truth to that? But again, and that's when it's like, looking at the mirror, like, okay, like, what can I do? What can I do better to then? You're only gonna really make yourself happy. Like, what can I do to actually do X, Y, and Z and make those things that these guys are saying real? And you can either feel sorry for yourself or use it as motivation. And right now, I'm kind of using it all as motivation. I
often go back and think through stuff, and I can't decide if a lot of the way that I thought was the reason why I had any career that I had, or it's a reason why I didn't accomplish more. Right? Like, I'd go to the track at 7 a.m. and I would always be thinking about, like, is Rafa doing this right now? Or, like, is Roger doing this right now? Are they doing, like, these things? But then I was also like, is that healthy? Right? There's so many things, and I think there's a certain point where our strengths kind of become our biggest weaknesses sometimes 100%. As well, and it's hard to it's hard to navigate those things, right?
100%. I've been, like, for example, I've been going on super long runs at, like, this offseason, super early in the morning, like 5:30s, and I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, yeah, like, and the Final Eight's going on, and I'm like, sorry for my language, but I was like, none of these motherfuckers are doing this right now. Like, I'll tell you that literally, because they're out here. And then, so I mean, I think it's good though. Like, but at the same time, it is like, no, you're doing it for you. Like, you're trying to get better. But I really think, like, it is good to think that way, because they're the reason why you may not get to or do whatever you're trying to do.
I remember I was like, the last year or two that I played, I was a psycho. Like, if I lost, it was as if the world fell in every time. Like, every single time. Like, couldn't handle it, didn't like it. Would win, I'd be like, okay, next one. I didn't give as much credit. Right. The thing that messed me up the most was I interviewed Roger like 2 years after I retired, and I was working for a different network. And I said, like, you don't have that, like you don't get perceived as like that fire and ice, like that Michael Jordan thing where he broke a teammate's nose in practice. Like, you don't have that. I was like, is it in there? And he said something that I didn't understand. And I'm curious your take on it, because you seem like this happy-go-lucky, easy smile. It presents itself, everyone's friend type thing, which I think is the greatest thing ever. And he goes, I don't know. Like, I hear these people that hate to lose. He goes, I just like winning more than I hate losing. And I couldn't understand it. I had no idea what he was talking about. Does that make any sense to you, what he says?
No, it definitely does.
God,
man. It definitely does.
You have people drive me nuts.
But honestly, I love, for me, I don't really have like that fear, like coming out,
like, dealt with insecurity and ego. That's I'm not really like currency.
I don't really think about man, I better not fucking lose it. I'm more like, not to say you're thinking that, but I'm
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was running from shadows. That's all I was doing. That's it. That's it.
But yeah, I love winning. I love like big moment winning. I love everything about winning and what that, that brings out a smile on me. But playing deeper scale, playing the game. Well, I love tennis. I love playing. But winning is like the most exciting thing. That's when the big ass smile comes out. All the reactions, all the celebrations. That's what I look forward to. I visualize those things a lot. But that's crazy that he said that, because that's exactly how he looks like. The guy has no stress in his whole life.
I might as well have, you could have knocked me over with a feather. Like, I had no idea what was happening. And I was so angry with him. I'm like, you don't have the angst and you have all this success? I'm like, oh God, it's like he's not like a tortured artist. But talk through like your generation. So we're talking about like TP, Reilly, Taylor. Eubanks was in here earlier. We shot some shows. And he goes, the thing that's like weird that I don't think that your group understands is like, you guys were sitting around at like 14, 15 years old, and you're like, we're going to play in majors, we're going to win tournaments, we're going to do all this shit. And then it actually happened, right? Like, mine is more like there's one person that made it along with me. It seems like your core group like actually worked. It reminds me of like the French group of like Tsonga, Simone, Monfils, Gasquet, where like every single one of them is like, oh, you were 12 in the world, you were 9 in the world, you were 8 in the world. Do you guys,
when we come away from it, I think we're gonna be like, wow.
Do you guys actively acknowledge it? Like, it doesn't happen. Normally, you lose some soldiers along the way, right?
Yeah, it seemed like everybody just kept going.
Yeah, it's weird. Is it exactly what you guys thought?
It's weird because like we're all like, we're all generally like get on well. Yeah, we're all like good friends, but it's we always kind of had that mentality. Well, if this guy did it, I can definitely do it, right? And then it kind of just and so on and so forth. You know, there was me and Kozlov, and then Tommy, these guys started coming, and Fritz, and then it just kind of kept going. And then and we just kept believing off each other, but not really spoken about. We just kept believing off each other, and then, but sometimes, like I've had a conversation with Fritz. I'm like, bro, like honestly, like shortly after we played in the semi US Open, I'm like, bro, like growing up, I never thought in my mind I would be playing your ass in the semi US Open. Like think about it. Like I mean, because we're watching you play and like Fed, Rafa. Like think about all the people I'm thinking about like to win a slam. I'm like Taylor Fritz, like it's crazy. Like,
and did some of you develop later? So like there, like in every group, there's like some stud who's 12 who you never hear of again. But then there's some guy like Marty Fish didn't make nationals until he was like 15.
So Fritz was like couldn't put one foot in front of the other. Like he was. I mean he falling off treadmills. I mean he was not. But then
But he was kind of good at like young. I mean he made the finals of Memphis when he was like 18.
So yeah, but I'm talking about like in the beginning, like 12, 14. Then like when he turned 15, he had a growth spurt, and then like started serving well. We're like, oh, he got crazy. Yeah. And then he started winning a bunch and started getting his feet on him. Reilly, I would say was good, and then he had a growth spurt in the middle, and then he got better. Tommy was always good. Tommy was always. He
looks like he's kind of good.
Tommy was always good. He was always a freak. Myself as well.
Yeah. I remember you're one of the guys we heard about like when we were on tour. It was like there's this 13-year-old. Yeah, like one of those guys.
Exactly. So we all had it a little different. Tommy when he first came on and got it going later. But yeah, I mean we're all walk away from it at minimum and be like, yeah, top 20 in the world, top 10 in the world. Like it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. And you guys actually like lived, trained, like you were like with each other.
Yeah. Like I mean, Tommy, his
like explain that because our listeners, I don't know that they fully understand like how small the world is. It's like you guys all coexisted in the same 3 blocks
no.
for like 90% of your life.
No, like, during I don't think people understand. Like USTA dorms, it's me, Tommy, Reilly, and like Fritz, and we're like in bunk beds. Like
that's wild.
Like I mean, and then wake up and then play for 6 hours and then mess around, get in trouble, do the whole thing, go to like, and then kind of go out and practice the next day for years. And it's just, and you don't really think anything of it. You're kind of just a kid, right? Like, you're like, yeah, he's good. He's good too, but like, whatever.
It's kind of weird. Like we talk, like I'm sure you guys have to talk about U.S. tennis ad nauseum. Like it's just.
No, we got to hear your name a lot.
It's the worst. I know. I like hate it. Bro. I promise you, I hate it. I hate it for you guys as much as you guys hate it for yourselves. Yeah. But it's kind of weird because we make player development into this really. It can become complex too. And the simplest version of it is whether it's Bollettieri's in the 80s, like when Andre, it's the same thing. Andre, Jim, David Wheaton, and all these guys who ended up being top 10, and a lot of them were number 1. Yeah. Like they just beat the shit out of each other every day for a while, right? And then there was that healthy jealousy, like you were talking about. Someone takes a step, it's like, no, like I want to do that. Like this is, and then. Marty and I, we had a group of 6 guys, and 2 top 10 guys came out. We used to play at an apartment complex on the courts, like Crystal Palms apartment complex. Like, if you get talent together,
I don't think it's that complicated. To be honest,
it's harder in America because it's so big. Like
I get it, but like just like once I started to understand, like, and it's kind of funny you said that about like 7 a.m. workouts, and you're thinking about Rafa and those guys. Like when it came to it, and when growing up, like. I was like, well, I ain't trying to lose to Tommy Paul. I ain't trying to lose to Reilly Opelka. Yeah. Like from like 12.
Yeah.
And then like you go to the nationals and you're like, okay. And then they did a good job of always putting us in camps. I'm seeing these guys like 2 weeks out of every month. Like once from like 14 on, 13 on. And so, but like, yeah, I'm looking around like I'm trying to be the best out of this group. Not really thinking about big picture pros or turning pro or doing that whole thing.
Because that's not dominating your day to day.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really care about that. This group right here, I gotta be the guy.
Did you think you were a really good group, or did you just think we're one of the groups that exists now?
I mean,
or does every teenager think he's part of a good group?
I mean, yeah. I think we thought we were like really good. I mean, but I didn't. You don't still know what that looks like, because you're so far away from it. Like, I mean, I'll be honest. As a kid, I was super arrogant. Like, I was just like. I mean, there was a point at like 14. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make it for sure. I don't know what
you actually. So I'm
telling
it's so
you,
funny
like,
how like different mentalities can kind of get to the same like result. I was always like, I suck. Like I thought everyone else was amazing, and then something clicked and it like switched.
Like for
But I
example,
didn't have that like when I was a kid.
100%. Like Dennis Kudla was so big that he was in our academy growing up, and he was always the guy and always in the papers. And I remember he had like a good run. He got in the top 100, 20 something, and I was like, I remember telling coaches, I was like, well, you know, I love Dennis, but Dennis made it. I definitely should make it, right? I'm like 14 years old. And the guys are like, what are you talking about? Like, this guy, like,
You suck.
what do you mean? Like, dude, you playing 14's like national open right now. Like, you talking about like Kudla playing Wimbledon, he's second week. I was like, nah. If he's making, I was like, yeah. I mean, you can break down his forehand. I should make it if he's.
Man.
But that sickness. But then the other guys are like, they weren't quite like that. They were just like they were just trying to beat everybody they were playing.
Yeah.
I was super naive as a kid. I was like, oh, why not?
That's amazing. I wish I can't figure out what part of like what the proper combo is of like the way you thought versus like my stress, my stressed existence.
Do you think if given what the temperature is now, would you have gone to college maybe instead of going pro at a young age? We were just having a conversation with.
Well,
About
the context of it was guys are getting paid. Like I signed a Reebok deal where I got paid $300,000 when I was 17 over 5, you know, and then there was incentives. So like that was my reason for turning pro. Right, but now you can make that, and you can go train at a great facility and almost create like a super team
you
of.
Do exactly what you're saying, right?
You'd
be around
it's
the
better
best
facilities,
of the best
and it's basically taking what you guys had in Orlando, but getting paid for it. Do you think the current version of that would change anything, or were you just basically like it's pro or bust
Give me pro.
as fast as possible?
For me, at my position, no, I still would have turned pro. I was
the same.
I was going. I was like, man, like.
You're like, it's my destiny.
I was like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be in the classroom either.
I hear you.
I'll give it space, man. I was not trying to do that too. But I mean, I think going to college would have been fun, but I was locked in. I was ready to go. So I was like, let's do it. But to your point though, like my people were saying, like, you know, whatever your college scholarship quote unquote would be over those 250,000, 300,000, like if you're not getting that, like your ass needs to be going to college. Like contractually, so
yeah. Like I always approached it from people are like, well, you lose your eligibility, and I go, my goal isn't to play line 4 somewhere in college. Like I don't want to do that, so I don't care. I can go to school. It's not like as if I can't go to school. Yeah, it'll just be older. Yeah. If I felt like I for me going pro wasn't a stress point. That's probably the only thing that we might agree on here as far as like the way we go about whatever. I was a psychopath about all of it. So the tour, like when Roger Rafa, Novak stop, and I'm going, okay, there's gonna be some parity here. Like it's gonna go back to the way it was in the 90s where you had a bunch of people who had like 4, 5, 6 slams, right? Like that used to be the kind of the barometer. Jim Courier has 4 and Edberg has 6 and Becker has 6 and like they're all these icons of the game. Talk through the progression and like what you've seen from Carlos and Jannik, because I get a bunch of has-been players talking about what they see. Tell us about what you see game-wise and then also like mentality day-to-day, because they seem like Carlos seems like he's got a little bit of you, where he lights up when he sees people, and Jannik seems like he's a little
stand-up,
little calmer, right?
Yeah.
And did you expect these guys to get this good, this consistently?
No. I knew Sinner was gonna be really good. I played him in the next gen. Like when he first was coming out, I was like, man, this guy's gonna be good. Obviously, I played Carlos for the first time when he was 17. I was like, everyone was talking about this guy. All the Spanish guys were like, man, like, good luck today. This dude's really good.
He was one of those guys you heard about when he was 13.
Yeah,
he was like him. Like you hear these kind of names that.
I was like, I ain't about to lose a 17-year-old. I got him like 5 and 6. I could walk up the court, but this dude's nasty. I was like, and so. Yeah, and then a couple years later, we're playing in the 70s U.S. Open, and he's 19. I'm like, dude, this guy's gotten so much better in the 2-year span, and then they just keep getting better, right? Like, and that's why they stay at the top, because they continue to improve. I like in comparison those two to the big four. Obviously, I think Carlos is a combination kind of all of them. Mm-hmm. I think Sinner with the Novak movement.
I was about to say he seems like the next version of Novak. Like, but maybe more aggressive.
Yeah, right. With the Novak movement, but with the Agassi, like everything on the hop and just playing super fast, and and you feel like you don't see any space when you're kind of playing against him. But then the tour is kind of open. Then it kind of feels like, to me, like, like, I don't know, those years where before, Federer and Rafa and those guys kind of happened. Like it just
back when anyone could win a slam.
Seriously, like it really is open from like 3 to 200 with the guy winning Shanghai. Like, I mean, it's
204. He also got 800 in the world the month before, by the way.
It's
crazy.
It's open. So it's exciting times from that sense. But and then when you think about it, it's like, okay, at the end of the slam, you got to be 2 guys running than 3 guys, and a lot of times the 4 guys of semis was already a lock. I just think there's a big open in tennis, and that's what I'm really excited about. I still don't think these guys are unbeatable. I struggle to believe that. Like I generally like, especially
you also thought like you were going to be on tour when you were 14. So
right. But I have to think that way. Yeah. I mean, look, I played Carlos twice, and look, he's won 2 slams, I lost him in 5, and I feel like I missed out on that. I'll be generally honest with you. Last year at Wimbledon, I felt like that's when I let one go. And at the Open, I was hanging for dear life. I mean, we were 3-all in the 5th, but I was hanging for dear life in the sets I've won. But at Wimbledon, I really felt like that was just one up with a couple of love 30s. So and then I just otherwise, then why am I playing if I don't believe that they're now? Are they very tough to beat? Absolutely. It's hence why they're winning every tournament that they mostly enter in. But if you're telling me the whole tour you have a shot, and then at the end of the week you got to beat 2 guys, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Taking that
completely. Foe, I know you got a lot of shit going on. I know you're here in town. You got to play tonight. You're going to be on court in front of like 15,000 people in like 3 hours. So we won't keep you any longer, man. We're always cheering for you. I think, like, I've always liked you, and then we hit a little bit yesterday, and I came up, my wife was like, how was it today? I was like, I like him more, I think. Like, he's just like a good dude. He doesn't, he's just as nice and just as friendly when there's no cameras around. So props, man. You're the real thing. I hope great things for you.
Appreciate it, man.
I hope you believe in yourself as much as we believe in you.
That means a lot.
Honestly,
man.
I think you can go a long way. I want you to be in turn next year.
Yes.
Because that means every week was good.
100%.
Appreciate you, bud.
Back hips off, bro.
That's it. We'll clip that in case it works, but we're not going to speak about it unless it works. Secret code until then. Thank you for watching Served. All right, welcome back to Served. Props. Thank you to Big Foe for coming on. Mike, I don't think you had met Foe before.
No.
We said hello quickly the other day when we were hitting, and then he came in studio. What do you think? What were your takeaways?
Well, I think you said it in the opening, and I mean, it's obvious, right? He's just seems to be the happiest person and just very engaged. Like when he shakes your hand, he's looking you in the eye, smiling. He's truly engaged. But I think the biggest thing was just the appreciation for sitting in this chair, saying that he had to look at himself in the mirror and think about what he wanted to do and wanted to achieve, and that knowing that he needed to make some changes. And we allowed the guy, we praise Sinner and others that are like, oh, I need to make changes when they say it in a press conference. Like this guy's saying it to himself, and he's doing the uncomfortable, which I thought was really, really cool. Especially for a guy that's achieved so much, in his life already.
Yeah, and this is, I every time I say something like this, people say it's like, you get the comments that it's self-serving, and I promise you that's not the goal. You can be 9-10 in the world and have been an insanely successful tennis player, and we don't get that narrative enough during coverage. Also, I know I didn't want to bring it up to him because he was coming off a hit. It was kind of a happy place. He was going to work an exhibition that night, so context matters with how we go about an interview. Sometimes, he decided the day before. He's like, I'll stop by. It was that casual, right? And very nice of him because they were running him through. Exhibition days, you're doing clinic, you're doing, it's just, nothing's super, intensive. It's not the most important thing in the world. You're kind of going through the motions, and there's a lot of crap to do, right? So he literally went fun practice, stopped over here, and then went to the arena, right? And I say all that. It's not something I wanted to ask him about during the interview, but if we had a sit down where, it's an hour and 20 and we had scheduled it months in advance, I would have loved to have gotten into this.
For those of you that don't know the story of the Tiafoe family, right? Mom and dad from Sierra Leone. Dad comes over in 1993. Mom comes in 1996 to get away from civil war that was happening in Sierra Leone. Basically helped build the tennis center that Frances grew up playing at, and then worked there after he was on the construction crew building it. Are all those facts correct?
Correct, yeah, in College Park, Maryland.
Right. An old Washington Post article, basically dad would work nights, days, and Frances and his twin brother would sleep on like a massage table in a separate room. Like an extraordinary example of what the American dream is, in my opinion. Phenomenal. Something that constantly, I think, because Frances is so engaging, charismatic, and we know what the upside is, you know, the peaks and valleys, and also just dealing with this like next American narrative is just kind of boorish, because until someone kind of comes and wins a slam, it's just the same conversation over and over. But there's just no chance that any of those conversations should supersede the story. The story is the sacrifice made by parents that's manifested in this bundle of joy and charisma, and this person who has brought, you know, so much life to an arena. I think because he's so magnetic, because he's so charismatic, because we will always want more of him, right? I don't even think it's like, oh, you're 10 in the world, you haven't made Turin yet. I don't even know that we want that just because we want it. I want it because we want more of him, always. He's one of the best personalities in tennis, but he is the American dream. He is what it is all about. Their family is what it's all about. I think that's probably why he keeps his family so close. Like, he came in here to do a podcast and there were 8 people with him.
Yeah, his brother was with him.
His brother was with him. But listen, I was thankful for the time. I think this story is one that like I would dig into for 2 hours and want to know the nuts and bolts. I'd want Frances with his father, right, and going through those decisions. But the thing that I think gets lost in his charisma is the amount of gratitude that he shows to everyone he comes across. Seeing you the other day for the first time, like you said, engages, right? Every person he sees is like hug-worthy, right, in his eyes. And I think that's gratitude. It just is presented in a bit of a different way. We only want Frances to be great because he's so much fun to watch. It's great to want more of someone. Thank you for Frances for coming on. Props to Mom and Pop Tiafoe. You're what it's all about. So I thank you, and I thank the rest of you for listening to Serve. We'll see you next week. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents.